Hi, and welcome to Co-Heating, where we want to bring you a new solution for heating your homes while decreasing your costs and CO2 emissions. Let's begin with a little bit of background. In 2019, the energy consumption in European households has been identified to be distributed like this. 63.6% of the energy was used for space heating, 14.8% was destined for heating water, and 0.4% for cooling. Of course, this last one varies strongly depending on the geographical location. Nevertheless, only 14.1% was consuming electricity, 6.1% in cooking, and the rest was just 1%. This made scientists and environmentalists realize that producing clean energy was not the only problem to be addressed. And now there is another new necessity. So, how to manage this energetic distribution in the most sustainable way, especially for heating? Well, many research institutes and companies have taken the initiative to provide products to the European households that can improve their energy management. This market is starting to bloom, and it is expected to become a central part of sustainability across Europe. Heat batteries are the core of this trend, and they will for sure expand in the upcoming decade. So, how do they work? Well, they store heat that is being produced by renewable energies or conventional energy sources when their price is low. Then, when heating is needed at home and prices are high, they use the stored heat for warming up the living spaces and water. Thanks to our experience working beforehand with this kind of technology, we have identified the weakest points and threats of heat batteries. However, with risks also come potential. We have learned that in Spain, which is our target country, there is a big acceptance and potential for introducing these new technologies for heating and cooling. However, heat batteries are usually very expensive, especially for one single homeowner. The average income in Spain is not as high as in other European countries, but still they have abundant renewable energy sources that could charge these batteries and reduce the energetic costs for their owners. Another key issue is the size and weight of the batteries. This is crucial since many living spaces have limited space inside them and have only stable ground for heavy equipment in shared areas such as basement or gardens. Taking all this input into account, we have come up with a solution. A heat battery can be adjusted to be shared by two or more households. But why and how could it work? Well, if two neighbor families decide to share one battery, the cost is reduced to the half. Now, each household can have different heating needs and different energy sources to charge it up. So, there needs to be someone who distributes this in a fair way. And this is where co-heating comes up. We offer a software able to identify the best moments and prices to charge a shared battery. Simultaneously, our software will be able to distribute the cost and heat between the households in an efficient way. For example, one neighbor having access to renewables can share a battery with another neighbor that has access only to conventional energy. Here we can design and offer a scenario where both could reduce their heating costs and profit from the renewable power during its availability and the low prices periods of conventional energy.
So, why us? We work with each customers in uh, designing their heating and cooling system based on the different types of heat source which they have. Different houses can have different types of heat sources. So we created a hybrid model where we can combine those different types of heat sources to store their energy and which can be shared between two or more houses. So by doing this, the amount of investment they are going to, the customer is going to make is going to be reduced since it's going to be shared between more people, and the reduction in utility bills as well since the heat energy is stored during the off-peak period and can be used in the peak time. Key stakeholders in our company would be the battery providers and as well as the financial partners who made the investment in the company. And the key partners would be the government, maintenance providers, the communities, and the technicians. We have the government as our key partners because they provide subsidies for the sustainable heat energy storage which the customer is going to have, so which in turn can reduce their initial investment they're going to make in the battery. And we have the communities because we have like different communities based on the apartments or buildings which can help in providing more business to our company. And the technicians and the maintenance would be those who work on the installation and the maintenance of the battery later on. The key activities which we would be doing are the marketing, the installation of the battery, and the solution design, which would be unique, and for it would be done for each customers based on their heat sources. The main source of revenue would be the battery sales and from the software license which we are going to sell along with the battery in the communal.
So as for the for how it works, how the system works, we will see it better in a practical example. Say, for example, that we have two neighbors that want to install a storage system. One of them has solar and solar panels in the roof, and the other one uses natural gas to get the energy for the heating system, for example. First of all, we would find a storage solution that fits their common needs better. Then the software would make sure that everybody charges and discharges the fraction of battery that they own, but that they do it in the most efficient way. That is, for example, let's imagine it's 12 p.m. on a sunny day. The neighbor with solar panels will be charging the battery with the excedent of energy, and the other neighbor would be consuming from the battery. But in the evening, when there's no sun, the neighbor with the natural gas would be the one charging the battery, and they would both consume that energy. This way, both neighbors would see a decrease in their bills, their overall consumption would be lower, so they would pay less because the software would be optimizing their battery use. Then, let's see the validation. As seen in the previous explanations, we started with the idea of a shared heat battery system partnered with a heat battery developer. From the interviews, we saw that 95% of the interviewed people knew what heat batteries were, and all of them saw them as a sustainable solution, although the main concern with it was the viability of the technology and its cost. So our first idea was to provide a shared solution between neighbors to invest on a heat battery developed by Celsius in this case. Throughout the process of interviews, we saw that what worries most customers when it comes to heat batteries or any type of energy storage is the automatization of charging-discharging process to make the system more efficient and thus cheaper. Therefore, we pivoted our idea to target customers who already have storage solutions with the software to optimize the use of their storage systems by optimizing the moments at which the battery is charged or discharged, as you can see. And finally, continuing with the interviews, we saw that the main concern of the people interviewed when it comes to installation of heating systems is financial, so the costs. Also, there is a growing demand in big cities to create energy communities. As seen previously, many potential customers would share their heat storage system installation with neighbors to reduce investment costs. Therefore, we pivoted our idea to expand and target any potential group of customers willing to share the investment of a heat storage system to design their personalized heating system solution that would be optimized with our software. We would then be creating a personalized system depending on each case, and the software would optimize the charge-discharge process by choosing which energy source to use at any time depending on prices. We also see that even though most people claim that their motivation is equally due to environmental and financial improvements, adding all the results up, we see that the most important aspect moving people making a decision to invest on a system like this is financial. This last pivoting would reduce investment costs for customers sharing the storage system, and with the optimization software, it would also reduce the monthly energy bills. Ultimately, this last solution, just like the previous one, could also be adapted to other types of energy storage.
Regarding the opportunity, as you all know, heating is a basic need. We all need hot water in our houses as well as having a comfortable temperature to live there. And there's many available options in the market as to how to heat your home. You have heat pumps, you have gas boilers, you have collectors. It's a wide variety of options. But now we see a good opportunity developing for heat batteries, given new regulations coming, where in order to hit the net zero targets that we have for climate change, fossil fuels will need to be phased out for the case of coal and natural gas, and we will see a tendency for heating to electrify. So that's where heat batteries come in, so that the new people can take advantage of the price volatility that will be here because of renewables and really save money. So we will have opportunities for retrofitting and for energy communities that they can take advantage of this. Now, if we talk a bit about the numbers, for the total available market, the thermal energy storage is expected to grow from 234 gigawatt hours to 800 gigawatt hours, according to IRENA. In talking about numbers, this represents 13 to 28 billion USD dollars in new investments. Out of that number, residential buildings are 35%. And if we ground it to Europe, heat batteries then represent 32 to 110 gigawatt hours, talking about an available market of 1,152 to 3,960 million euros. The aim for us then would be to capture 20% of this new market for heat batteries, which equals to 115 to 396 million euros.
Main activities are doing software maintenance and operation, entering markets, attending fairs, and doing internet advertisement. In the Q2, we will continue on software maintenance and operation, market entry, and doing some commercial activities like telephone sales. In the Q3, we will have market entry done in the first month of it, then start revalidating the market. Finally, in the final quarter of this project development, we will have everything done in the end.
Our sales plan and how we plan to attract customers and expand our concept is divided in 3 phases. Phase 1 consists in profiting from an early partnership with one of the providers we have previously worked with. We expect to reach our customers mutually with our first partner acting as distributors, while our software is developed to assure some early profits. Simultaneously, we will have a strong focus in market research, and this will go aligned with online marketing and branding distribution for our solution. The last ones are to be carried along phase 2 and 3 as well. In phase 2, we are expecting to expand our partnerships with providers and therefore increase our network through them. We aim also to expand our range of potential customers thanks to our market research into, for example, construction firms or industries that also require heating solutions. Ultimately, in phase number 3, once our product has entered the market and is well established, we wish to focus into branding and creating a community sense through labeling and marketing in public spaces. We have learned that people are more willing to acquire a new product just because other people have done so and are profiting from it. So we want to use this in the future to expand into a co-heating community.
For our sales forecast, as previously mentioned, we will first begin to sell to individual homeowners by the 7th month, with numbers growing up to 10 customers per month during the 2nd year. And then for the new housing developments, we will launch the 13th month of operations, where we expect during that year to have up to 2 housing developments per month. And the idea would be then by the 3rd year, we can double this amount once we start growing and have more people available. Then, if we talk about the financial plan, here we have the graph for our projected profit and loss statement. Where, as you can see, at the beginning, we will have no revenues. That is until we launch for individual customers. And then we expect to begin getting profits by the month 13. That is when we we begin with building installations. And then after 18 months, our margins would be in the range of 15%. As to how we're gonna get money in the beginning, like to really be able to start up. So when we launch the company, the co-founders will invest 12,000 euros each. This will be used especially to hire software developments and to buy the equipment necessary to do this. Then by the 5th month, we will open a funding round for additional investors, where we will need another 30,000 euros to continue along with the software development and to start to get our campaigns going for marketing campaigns. And then by the 9th month, where we already have revenues, we would be ready to take on a loan, just to also ensure that money keeps on flowing and that we can be ready for the launch of the software at the month 13th. As for how the cash flow would look, here, as I previously mentioned, you can see in January, in May, and in September that we would be getting some equity injected, and then we would be at the lowest point on the 13th month. But from there, we would start making positive cash flows once we begin installations in the buildings.
Speaking of risk of this project, we have thought of some items could be risky. A, losing partnership with providers. B, outsourcing maintenance problems. C, delay of software development. D, competitors will develop same type of software with us. E, certificate subsidies problem. F, lack of investment. G, finance imbalance. To assess the risk of these items, we are going to use a tool called risk matrix. Put these items in the matrix based on the severity and probability. Then we get to know the risk level of them. In this matrix, there are 5 different levels of risk, which marked into 5 different colors. And in our case, EC will be placed into 2nd level, A, B, and F will be in 3rd level, while D and G are quite risky, will be placed in the 4th level.
So finally, I will be presenting the team, which is formed by the 5 founders, who are Sainten, Ernesto, Juan Sebastián, Ziwei, and myself, Mikel. And since we don't want the world to be hotter than us, we will need to hire also 2 software developers to develop the software for each case, 2 mechanical engineers that will be in charge of the installations, and a marketing specialist so that we can get more sales.